Okay, we're back. You guys have had a chance to work on your staging and timing. I'm going to go ahead and work on the staging and timing of the ghost also. Same process. So in this case, we'll choose clip 61. And we can drag it down. Since they were all shot on the same camera, I don't have to match the resolution. All of this footage is the same resolution and frame rate. All right, just to stay organized, I'm going to hit enter and rename that layer. Call this ghost. Oops. All right. Or you can call it ghost punchy, but you know it's the ghost. All right, so how come I can't see my ghost? Well, again, we go through the same process. We have to hit opacity T on the punchy layer and change the opacity so that we can see through it. Now I can see through that layer, stacking order, and see the ghost layer. All right, let's see how our timing looks. And it's a little taxing on my slow computer, but that's all right. What we're going to do is look at the performance. And I think I'm going to trim this early just because we don't need the ghost getting ready. In fact, I'm going to hide the punchy layer just so I can see the ghost a little more clearly. That's a pretty good jump back. I think I'll just go with that one. All right, so he's going to get punched and fly back. Punched and fly back. All right, so I can see which area I'm going to use. So I'm just going to trim by grabbing that handle. That way I don't have to deal with finding the performance. Right there. We're only going to use that leap. The landing doesn't help us. So we'll trim the other side. Also, you can also use Alt right bracket to trim that layer. That's a shortcut that comes in handy. All right. So we got our guy, our ghost, flying back. So we have the performance we want. Now we have to work on, of course, the timing and the staging. So we need the ghost to come out of the punchy. So positioning of our ghost is going to be based on the punchy. So our ghost is standing in front of the punchy. Let's go ahead and go to the ghost layer, hit P, shortcut for position, and let's move him in the X space a little closer to where the punchy is. All right. So now at least he's standing in the right spot. And of course now the timing's off. But because we have it trimmed to just the performance, this is a little easier as far as timing goes because I can see exactly where the performance starts versus with the other performances, I left all of the extra performance. All right. So let's see where he gets punched, and we'll just move our beginning of the layer to that point. I'm just using my time indicator, visually seeing where he's getting punched. Okay. So I'm gonna, all right, right when he gets hit, he should be flying back. timing's just a little off. And as you can see, all I'm doing is viewing the timing, seeing when the punch is, and trying to match it with the leap backwards. That's pretty good, but I think that the flying would be a little sooner. So I'm going to scoot the ghosts forward and see how that looks. And the other thing you can do to save your RAM is just turn off the audio. That's unnecessary. That way, when you do your RAM preview, you don't have to worry about that processing. That looks okay. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I just want you to see the process and workflow. All right. So you are done at this point. You've done your staging and timing. And as far as a basic VX shot, you have it. You have all three elements interacting with each other. All right, so we'll stop there, and when we continue, we'll get into our keying. Again, we're going to have to turn it into a 3D project, but at this point, since everything was shot pretty much with the same position of the camera and performances, the Z space isn't a priority right now. If that wasn't the case, we would have turned on 3D, and we would have had to start moving the elements closer or further from the camera to make sure that they were matched and lined up. But in our case, it's already done. So the reason I waited is because I didn't want to have to use my RAM or processing power for the 3D effect just yet. All right, so we'll come back and then continue with keying.